As you're going to see through the rest of the video, I have kind of a Western theme going here, and that's going to be transitioning the next few scenes. So I just wanted to have a Western background here to kind of finish this off or start this up. Amazing what the creator can do and what rioters don't do. What rioters don't do. Rioters don't do the beauty of this. Rioters don't protect the beauty that we have here. They start fires. One of the vandalism fires I just found out was done by an extremist terrorism group that was for their own thing, for their own purpose. These terrorists are destroying more of the environment than they help. They're putting more things into landfills than you and I ever thought possible. They're doing just crazy things. Just to let you know, I have no idea on the statistics of how much of all the chemicals, of all the things that they burn, basically burning down LA, basically burning down all these different major cities. This isn't helping. This is wrong. I told you I was going to get after the rioters, and it's true. Plus, they did a lot of terrorist things. They shot people. They stole, I know this for a fact too, because I've got a friend up in Santa Cruz. They gutted a complete place that has all the weapons, the gun store. That's what I'm trying to say. They gutted a gun store. I mean, part of it is this. This is the closest I'm going to be to this edge, and I'm not backing up. They gutted a gun store in Santa Cruz. I mean, why would they do that? They stole guns. These same people that are trying to say the Second Amendment right is wrong are the same people that are stealing guns and then using it against the citizens of America. That's terrorism, my friend. There's no other way to say it. It's a terrorist group. Many of these have been labeled as a terrorist group, Antifa being one of them. And this is just crazy. The destruction of the planet. Greater landfills, pollution in the air, all these things were done that way. They could have done a lot different ways. They could have said, you know what, because of what you did, we're going to go down and, again, like another video I talked about, we're going to donate our time to work and paint and do some great things. Instead of riot, we're going to have a peaceful riot. We're going to have like a sit-in riot. We're going to do something where we do something creatively to help, rather than trying to intimidate you and me as Americans. I mean, going and shooting an African-American lady in a wheelchair is wrong. Going and discharging a fire extinguisher on her as well is wrong. But these terrorists that I'm mentioning in this riot did exactly that. It's an African-American lady. Doesn't make any sense to me. Again, I mentioned it before. They shot a off-duty African-American police officer, retired, at his friend's pawn store. They shot an 8-year-old girl, Mr. Anderson. Look it up. Just Google Mr. Anderson, comes right up on YouTube. They shot an 8-year-old girl who was African-American. I mean, it's beyond my. It's just morally wrong. It's murder. It's bringing in a socialist agenda. If you study out what Joseph Stalin did to his own people and people that weren't his, he went to exterminate people to the tune of over 20 million people. This is what socialism, this is what communism does. They killed all the czars and all that other stuff, just like the Rolling Stones talk about in the song. They did all those things. Why? Did they get something better? No, it was worse, because then it was an extermination of the people. Yeah, there might have been a huge wealth problem, distribution problem there, But by exterminating those people that were wealthy, other wealthy people came in, took over the military, took over the people, and then they butchered Jews in Russia by the thousands. I met a Jewish man, he used to room with us at the, not room with us, but he was in the same, we have like studio apartments, there's 40 studio apartments. So one of the studio apartments, he rented that. He said, this is twice the size of, and with an ancillary bathroom of what Russia did for us as Jews. They would put 9 to 10 people in a very, very small room, like 9 by 5. And there's a, washroom in there and that. Everything's together. That's what they did. They said, here, this is your government housing from Joseph Stalin. I mean, I definitely don't want that in America. And there's a socialist agenda going around. Plus, this social agenda wants to kill and keep killing and keep murdering unborn babies and say it's okay. And there's also been over 18 million African American babies that these people are in favor of. And for God's sakes, if you have any semblance of conscience or morality to you, you would know that is totally wrong. And again, it's hypocritical. You can't say it's okay that you're defending this is all about abuse with police and things like that. I get it. I already spoke about that. That's done and over with. Now it's your abuse. You're the abuser. You're the problem in America, not regular Americans. Americans want to go out, they want to work, they want to take care of their family, they want to raise kids, they want to have some purpose in life, they want to catch their dreams, their goals, their ambitions, whatever their faith is, they want to follow that faith, and you're stepping in the way of that. You're trying to stop that. This American's not for that. I'm going to stand up. My relatives were chased all around Europe, and they were Mennonites. It's a Christian group. They were chased all around Europe because they wouldn't let them practice their faith. They were farmers, many times tenant farmers or servant farmers, things like that. That's where my relatives came from until the turn of the century, where they came to America and got that freedom. Many of them settled in Pennsylvania. And my great-grandfather, my great-grandfather sweated tobacco, and he was a Mennonite. He had come out away from all that tyranny and that oppression in the late 1800s. And then early 1900s, my grandfather was the first one to graduate with a chemistry degree, had 6 patents. Why am I telling you all this? They're pacifists. This American's not. So there's many Americans that feel the same way. That was the way this country was formed, by protecting our own and protecting America and standing up for what's right. And like it or not, and again, socialists want to take this out too, God, any semblance of God, that's why they're after the Jews and the Christians, especially. But any semblance of God, they want to try and remove that. And I spoke about in my flag, it talks about the God of Israel, and it talks about God the Father, God the Son, Holy Ghost. So the socialist is trying to get everything out of God. Joseph Stalin did that. He eliminated all the pastors, all the Jewish rabbis. All those people were sent to work camps, and most of them died there. It wasn't done under a rock. It wasn't done in a closet. It's easy to find this history. So these are the things that are wrong about this socialism. This is exactly what they're trying to do, is they're trying to take over America by force, by intimidation, by socialism. These are terrorist groups. There's no other way to say it. No other way. If it was any other group that was a Jewish group or a Christian group or somebody else that was doing something and they were doing it violently, that's wrong. And the government would put a stop to that. Well, groups like Antifa, need to have a stop put to them. You can demonstrate peacefully. You're welcome to do that. It's in your rights as an American because you live here. Even though you don't act like an American, it's in your rights. And by the way, I know you don't like everything that America stands for, so you would come in and change America. You would come in and change our flag. You would change our national anthem. You'd take God out of everything that you possibly could and make yourselves to be God. And that's how you would create your system, your cult system, that's how you get your cult leaders. Your cult leaders are the God. They're the Jim Jones of the world. If you don't know Jim Jones, if you're too young to remember that, just go study Jim Jones. It's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to get you to drink the Kool-Aid. Now, I feel at this time, it's time to do everything that we possibly can as Americans within our rights to, number one, protect ourselves. Protecting ourselves in California. Do you realize that the gun sales in California have escalated? You can't go to a gun store and just buy any gun you want because their selection is so low at this point. I remember my friend, one of my really good friends, he's an attorney, he wanted to get a shotgun. And so he called up to one of the local stores there. I don't want to do a commercial for that store, but one of the local stores inside of LA that sells shotguns, it's a sporting goods store. He couldn't buy a shotgun. There was one left on the rack. Why? Because people are afraid of these terrorists and they want to protect themselves. The American citizens are going back to their Second Amendment right of arming themselves. A friend of mine told me that there's been almost 9 million in sales in guns. These are new gun owners. There's also, I'm sure, some gun owners that already had guns, but there's 9 million in sales. And being a proponent of that Second Amendment, one thing that I think that is very important as you as an American is not just get a gun. That's foolish. What you need to do on the Second Amendment side, and I've done this myself, I've gotten over 200 hours of training on the range. I've gotten other credentials and things like that I'm working on. These are the things that I would say to you. If you're going to have something, you need to be able to use that with discretion, with carefulness, and with a lot of education and training, and you need to do that. We don't grow up on the farms anymore. So therefore, you need to take time to educate yourself and train yourself. I am in no way or shape or form saying that you should go out and do any act of violence to any person. Violence is wrong. Protecting yourself is right. That's what it's talking about in the Second Amendment. Going out and doing violent acts is wrong on both sides. On the conservative, the moderate side, the liberal side, whatever side you're on, it's wrong to do violence to any human being. And my feeling is, and my belief, is if you do violence to someone, you will stand at Judgment Day for that violence. And heaven's a long time, and hell's a long time too, my friend. So whatever choices you make in this life, you know you're going to stand before the Creator that made all of this that's standing behind me, and you're going to have to give account of your life to that Creator. However you believe, it doesn't really matter. When you meet the Creator, you're going to know who He is. Okay? And of course, He's God Almighty. So with that, my encouragement to the rioters is stop doing these things. I'm going to start a series on different things that can be done. The other day, I went and gave blood. Every 2 months, I give blood. It saves a life. Why aren't the rioters flooding the hospitals? Right now, the hospitals need blood during COVID more than any other time. But the rioters aren't thinking of themselves. They're just thinking of themselves, rather. They're not thinking about others that they can help.
So that's just as simple as it gets. And it's really painless. I mean, you get a little poke, but what's that to helping somebody that you don't know, your neighbor, helping out your neighbor. That's what I keep mentioning with all these things. That's the solution. If we help out our neighbor, we don't have these problems, and we're looking out for other people.
Ready? Okay, so follow the guidelines on the card. If you get any questions or concerns, our phone number is right there. Nothing strenuous for the next 24 hours, all right? Here's this white paper right here is information regarding a COVID test that we're doing. If you have any questions, refer to the white paper, all right? All right, you should get the result within 2 weeks.
So thank you, Carlos.
Hey, you're welcome, Eric. Thank you so much. I need you to stay here for at least 10 more minutes. I want to make sure you're perfectly okay before you leave, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I suppose you want to show the people your blood?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, look at that. Still warm. Still warm.
Thank you, Eric. have a
Thank you
nice
so
one,
much.
okay?
Okay, bye-bye. So I'm also here with another one of my favorite phlebotomists, right? June.
Hello, hi, how are you?
So June has taken my blood 3 or 4 times here. It's kind of cool because then you get to run into the same people that you know, and then you become friends, and you know, and you're helping them. And
He's the guy, Thank you for doing this. Thanks for doing this, Eric.
June, you're welcome, and I'm happy to do it. So, and thank you for serving.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Without you, we're not here. Okay.
So hopefully, more people will come in to Cedars-Sinai. All right, now is my favorite part about giving blood, because it's just like you're a kid again. They give you like every, you know, when you're in the hospital. I was in the hospital 30, 40 times when I was a kid with asthma, and you know, you get the ice cream or tonsils and all those other things even in the hospital for when I was a kid. And you get ice cream, you know, you get to talk to pretty nurses, you know, things like that. We didn't have pretty nurses, but if you're a girl, there's some attractive gentlemen here for you as well. So, but hey, you get, like, they got Fig Newtons here. You got like Chex Mix, which is like one of my favorite snacks ever on the planet. Then they got these deep river. They actually fry them in a deep river, a really deep river, really deep river. And so then you get like water. And there's coffee and all that stuff that you get to, you know, kind of be like a kid again with all these snacks running around. And they're all, of course, complimentary for coming in and giving blood. Plus, I forgot to say, you get free parking validation too, so no charge. That's it.
Why not go and again do the where they build the homes for people that don't have enough money? They could go and use that energy to do that in these oppressed areas where people need that help. That would be great energy for the rioters to do. And they could say, I'm doing this because I want to help African American people. I want to help. I want to help whatever stripe they want to help. They want to help the American Indians. Why aren't you going to a reservation and offering to volunteer some time to help out there? Why aren't you doing something like that? Again, love your neighbor as yourself. That's what the Master said. And you're certainly not loving your neighbor if you're rioting, if you're breaking glass of buildings that are not yours. And many times these people have also had a lot of prejudice on them as well. And that doesn't do right by you, especially many of these rioters are white. It doesn't make sense what you're doing. It's just wrong all the way around. There's no excuse for violence ever. Because when you do violence, you have the right to, number one, the laws of this land, so life in prison depending on what you do, and then also the laws of that land. And that land, you don't meet the maker with an attorney, it's just you and him. And so with that, the rioters, I think, have made it very clear that I'm not in favor of any type of violence, but more building up and helping and not destroying the environment. And with that, I'll leave you to think about that, depending on who watched this video. But be ready, my friend. If you're a citizen, be ready. And you care about this place, America. And if you're a socialist that's trying to take over, I would say, you know, when you do violence, they that live by the sword die by the sword. Isn't what the master said too?
The shocking animal remains that you see could be America, a depictation of America, if we allow what is happening to continue. If we don't stand up for our values, if we don't find out who we believe and what we believe, instead of letting everybody come in and tell us what we believe and trying to change the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and also our national anthem and desecrate the flag, those are things that if we don't stop this from happening, we're not going to have a country. And the socialists would do exactly what animals have done to this elk, is it'll be decimated. There won't be anything left. That's why we need to stand up against the Khmer Rouges of this world and the Mao Zedongs of this world and dictators of this world that Xi and people like this. We need to stand up to these people and take a stand against Marxism and totalitarianism and communism, which also take away God and the faith from people. They want to totally destroy the Jewish faith and the Christian faith. And by the way, the Muslim faith also says that that abortion is wrong. So I'm not sure how the socialists are going to work with that, but it's very clear that the Muslims also believe that same thing, that is murder. And that's another thing that the socialists have done, is that they've allowed this abortion thing to, I can't vote for somebody who believes in abortion. How can I possibly do that? You know, that's against my moral compass. I wouldn't abort my children. And as a matter of fact, I have a relative that supports abortion, yet that person had a baby. How is that? It blows my mind how that you can feel this way and say abortion is okay for somebody else, but it's not okay for you. And, you know, you could take the white privilege thing and say different things like that because he is white that I'm referring to right now. And then, you know, what about the 18 million African-American babies that have been aborted? How tragic is that? I mean, it's, and, you know, just different things coming out that people are talking about there with all these different things. I'm glad that people are saying something. And we have to say something if we're going to promote change. Or else, again, our country will become like this animal carcass. May God truly help America, and may he truly help the people here to have that respect for the Creator. Just like what I mentioned, all these other faiths that do. And it's just disappointing that there's actually people that they name the name of God and still believe that abortion's okay. It's beyond me. And again, if you take the God out of the schools, like what has happened so long, that's why I think that the schools should be, if you don't send your kid to school, which we homeschooled our kid, if you don't send your kids to school, then you shouldn't have to pay. You shouldn't have to pay the property tax for those schools. I mean, the teachers' union's out of hand. They need some competition. Anyway, my point is keeping God in everything, or else that doesn't mean we need to have religion. I'm saying keeping God, your pure faith that's inside of you, not, you know, your religion or where you go to church or temple or mosque or whatever. I'm just saying that this is what you need to do, is keep this pure, or else we're not going to have a country.